Hey guys, this is CK at CK Education, and today I want to share with you some tips on managing your money. This can go very, very deep, but that's not my intention today. I just want to especially for you young professionals who are, you just got your first job, maybe you're making 70,000, 80,000. This is what some of my students are making. They're now graduated from college. They're consultants now. They're in finance. They're in investment banking. They're lawyers. And they're making a pretty good sum of money. As a starting salary. And they ask, what do I do? Like, how should I manage my money? So let me give you some tips on, especially for young professionals who are starting out in the careers. But this really could these principles are for anybody who makes money. Okay, I think it's very important that we manage our money wisely and we do it well. In another video, maybe in my next one, I'm thinking about doing one on why people lose their money. And this is a very important topic as well. But today, let me just share with you some tips on some basic money management. So you're making money, and I'm assuming that you're a salaried employee. Now, if you're an entrepreneur, I think it's a little bit different, but the principles will still be the same. But the differences will be how much taxes you pay. A salaried employee pays a lot more taxes than a typical entrepreneur, a business owner. Okay, that's just a fact. This is why so many people in America want to become business owners, because the tax implications are huge. So, but anyway, that's a whole different thing. But if you're a salaried employee and you're working and you're getting paid every 2 weeks, so you're getting, like 26 paychecks a year, and you're bringing home the money and you got some money left over every month and you're doing pretty well. But a few things I would say, okay? So first of all, the consumption that you do, the consumption choices that you make, I think are very important. Some of you guys, you say, wow, I'm making $80,000 a year. I'm making $75,000 a year. Some of you, I don't know, maybe your starting salary is $100,000. Some of you young professionals are making $200,000. Doesn't matter. Whatever you're making, if you use that money, you say you get all excited and giddy and you're going out and buy a $80,000 car, or you're just splurging on things like that. I think that is very unwise early in your career. Okay, that is not the thing to do early in your career. What you should be doing is you need a car to get around and to get to work and so forth. So you buy a car, but you buy one, a very affordable one, a very reliable one, and you pay that off. I mean, you don't want a big car loan. You're paying $600, $700, $800 a month on a very, very nice car that depreciates. There's nothing wrong with buying a nice car, but I think that's for later after you've done some things, okay? So first of all, I would not splurge on things like that. Buying a really nice car right out of college and spending all your money on and things like that, okay? So assuming that you have some student loan debt, that's usually a 10-year term, and you can defer that, but again, I wouldn't defer that forever. So here's a principle. Don't splurge on, the nicest apartment or the nicest car. Some of you guys, you're living at home. You're 25, 26, you're living at home. That's a great way to save money. And I have some of my students doing that. They're living at home. There's no shame in that. You live at home and you save a lot of money. So you save money and you save money. You got a car. You don't have a fancy car. You just got a very reliable one for transportation to get you to work and back. And in the meantime, what do you do with the money that you have left over every month? You're doing two things. Number one, you're saving. Okay, you're saving. Now, how much should you save? You should save as much as possible. Now, I hear a lot of financial advisors say you should save at least, 3 months worth of expenses. I don't know where they get this number. If at all possible, especially with the COVID-19 pandemic going on and stuff, a lot of people are realizing I haven't saved enough. I was just reading on the news, someone had like $5,000 saved. They were making like $64,000 a year. They had $5,000 saved. And I was like, 5,000, that's 1 or 2 months for that person. It's 1 or 2 months of expenses. You can't have that little. You should have a minimum of 6 months worth of expenses saved, if not a year. Okay, so I think you should save a lot more in case something happens. if you have 6 months worth or 1 year's worth of monthly expenses saved, you just feel a lot better. Okay. Now, again, that money, you're not investing it somewhere. It's just in the bank. I mean, that's not, you just let it sit, and that's for like an emergency fund. Okay. So you should save money. The other thing is you should be aggressively paying off debt. So if you have student loans, you should not have any credit card debt. If you have credit card debt, you need to pay those off as soon as possible and not use your credit cards. If you want to build credit and you use some credit cards and you pay it off every month or throughout the month, because you just pay online these days, then certainly if you're disciplined to do that, you can do that to buy groceries or put in gas or something, because you're using that money anyway. Okay, so if you use your credit card to pay for gas or groceries or something like this, and then because that's money you would have spent anyway, but you're using your credit card to build credit, and then once a week you're just paying that off. Okay, so that every month you're paying off your balance. You're not accruing debt, you're paying it off just to build credit. That's fine. I think that's okay if you're disciplined. If you're not disciplined and you know you're not, and you go crazy with credit cards, rip up the credit cards and don't use them at all. Okay, that's going to hurt you. And I've heard horror stories of even adults, 50, 60-year-old people who are just getting hammered because they have a lot of credit card debt. So do not do that. Do not accrue credit card debt. Okay, so pay off your loans. And when I say pay off your loans, if your student loan is, let's say the only loan that you have is student loans, which would be great, but that could be pretty hefty. It could be pretty big. Okay. Hopefully it's not, but if it is, if it's big, if it's like $100,000 or something like that, you're going to have to make a plan and say, look, every month I have this money left over. I'm going to save some, but I'm going to pay extra. If you got to pay $500 a month on your student loans, consider paying $700 or $800. You got to get that thing paid off. And if you go online and you go to some of these like debt, payoff calculators, you can put in there the interest rate, how much your principal balance is, and how much extra you're paying, what your minimum balance is, and how much extra you want to pay, and it'll show you like how quickly you can pay that off. So I would use those calculators, and I would make a plan and pay off that debt. If you have multiple debts, if you have student loans and credit cards, and you have a car loan and things like that, you have to look at probably the one that has the lowest balance. Okay, you say, well, my student loan is $50,000. My car loan, I got like $15,000 left on that. And then credit cards, I have like $3,000. Okay, so pick the smallest one, the credit card, $3,000, and make a plan to pay that off. Everything else you pay minimum, the credit card, you pay more, and you get that paid off as soon as possible. Whatever money that you were putting into that credit card, now pick the next one, the car, and you put that same money in addition to what you've been paying on the car, and you pay that more and get the car paid off as soon as you can. And then you pay the student loan minimum. And then when you get the car paid off, you put whatever money you were putting for that car, and you put that whole money towards your student loans, and you get the student loan paid off as soon as possible. My point is, debt is bad. All debt is bad. And the longer you have debt, the longer it's going to hurt you in the long run. The longer it's going to hurt you, in your financial life. And so in your life. And so you want to get your debts paid off as soon as possible. So that is like priority number one. But also priority number one, along with that, you got to save some money. You got to make sure. Now, if you're doing these things, you may not have a lot of money left over to buy, nice cars and things like that, which you don't want to do yet. Once you get all your debt paid off, and once you got some money saved, those are the two priorities. You pay off your debt, you save some money. Okay? Now, my debt is paid off. I have money saved up. Now, you should have a lot of money coming in that you're saving every month. Now, what do you do with that money? Okay. Now, with that money, you should invest, and you can do that. But now, some of you in your jobs, you have 401k plans, retirement plans, and things like that, and you can invest in those kind of things. Am I saying I would wait to invest until you pay off debt? I think yes. I think it's more important to pay off debt and to save money. Especially if you're putting a lot into your 401k. I would not put a lot into my 401k if I have a lot of debt. If I have no money saved up, I would take care of those things. And then later on, if you want to, now, especially if you have a employer contribution kind of 401k where if you put in a certain amount, they match it or they half match it or something like that, then yeah, you might want to do that. But when you do the 401k, look, stick with just very broad index funds, like the S&P 500 or the Wilshire 2000, the global funds, index funds. Just stick with an index fund, okay? And don't try to get fancy here and try to put, I'm going to put 20% into, pure stocks and 20% into bonds and 20% into, people talk about this kind of stuff and financial advisors give you all kinds of advice and you should diversify and all this kind of stuff. When you're putting your money into an index fund, you are diversifying, okay? When you're putting it into the S&P 500, you are putting your money into 500 different companies anyway. That's already diversified. And here's the truth. Financial advisors out there, now if you're a financial advisor, I'm sorry to say this, but I've just met too many of you guys. I'm not saying you guys are scam artists or anything like that, but you guys know as well as I do that financial advisors and professional stockbrokers, you guys cannot outperform. Most of you cannot outperform the general stock market. So if we're given a period of 15 to 20 years and somebody just sticks their money into an S&P or Wilshire 2000 index fund and they just let it sit for 15 years, they will outperform probably 80 to 85% of you professional stockbrokers, okay? And that's just the truth. For those of you who are not stockbrokers or who are not financial advisors, understand that, stockbrokers and professional stockbrokers and financial advisors, they usually make a commission off of trades. And so they encourage trades. What I'm telling you is don't trade a lot. Don't keep switching your money around in a lot of places. If you're young, you just put it into an index fund and and just keep doing that and then forget about it for 15, 20 years. Okay, you don't want to keep moving your money around, and then you will outperform 80 to 85% of professionals out there. That's just a fact. Okay, and so you can do it like that, but be very careful of the hot stock of the day or anything like that. All right, look, trying to get money, trying to make money quickly and trying to make a lot of money quickly. These are all hype, and it's just it doesn't work. I've never seen that work. So again, I just want to keep this very basic. You're making money. If you have debt, pay off the debt. Focus on paying off debt as quickly as possible. Save up money, 6 to 12 months worth of your monthly expenses, okay? And then the last thing that I didn't mention, but I'll mention here finally, is make sure that you're keeping track of your expenses. Okay, you should be keeping track of how much money net are you bringing in, and then what are you spending your money on, and keep track of that. It's not enough just to keep track of your bank statements and you're looking to see what you're doing there. In an Excel spreadsheet, put in all the different categories of money that you spend, and then allocate how much money you should spend in each category, and then make sure you're spending only that amount, okay? And do not go over that. You say, oh, but this month I really need that those new shoes, or this month I really need to buy that new watch over there, and that's not budgeted in my monthly budget. No, you don't want to go buy that. You have to sacrifice some things so that you have a better financial future. No good thing comes without sacrifice. You can't have everything. You can't spend all your money and keep it too, right? You can't eat your cake and have it too. And so you got to make sure, you got to be able to willing to, sacrifice some things. Now, some things will come up unexpected, and that's why you have the money saved up, okay? And that's sort of an emergency fund. So make sure you're doing that. Again, if you have any, I just want to keep it very simple. This is very basic. There are other things that I'll share that are a little bit more sophisticated perhaps in later videos, but right now, just keep it very simple. Now, if you have any questions or you didn't understand something or you have comments, please just put it into the comments below. I will read those and I'll respond back to you. But I hope that helps. And until my next video, I hope you stay well.